Hey there, my name is Kelly Dale and I'm owner of Off the Beaded Path located in Forest City, North Carolina. For today's video, I'm going to show you the second pair of earrings for 4th of July, Independence Day. And just like the previous video this week, if you're not from the United States, just make these earrings in whatever colors for your country or your flag or, for any occasion. They're just fun little earrings. So what you're going to need today is the same colors basically as we used previously. You're going to need Delicas, you're going to need a silver lined sapphire, a silver lined red, and a white. I'm going to use 2 yards of thread, 6 pounds, for each earring. So you'll need 4 total yards of thread. And then I'm going to use a size 12 beading needle. So go ahead and get your materials together and we'll get started. Okay, so first things first, I've got my needle threaded on a 2-yard piece of thread. And I'm going to start out with 2 blue. And I'm going to bring them near the end of the thread, but I want to leave a long enough tail that I can go back and add my ending. So I'm going to go back up through the first blue that I threaded on. So that gives me my 2 beads side by side. I'm going to go, to reinforce it, I'm going to come down through the second bead and then up through the first bead again. This will just reinforce it really good. Okay, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit so you can see we're going to be doing brick stitch for the first part of this earring. And we're going to be doing increasing in brick stitch. So I'm going to pick up 1 blue and 1 white. If you look, you have a thread bridge here connecting your 2 beads. So you're going to take your needle, you're going to go right under, hold it tight here. You're going to go right under the thread bridge. You're not going through a bead, you're going under the thread. And pull. And then you're going to go up through the white. Pick up 1 blue, go up under that same thread bridge you just went under, and go up through the blue you just added. I'm going to put my finger on it so that way it'll hold it nice and tight. Pick up 2 blue. Now I have 2 thread bridges. I have a thread bridge here between the blue and the white, and then between the white and the blue. So I'm going to go under this first one. And then up through that second blue that I added. One blue. Go up under the next thread bridge. And then 1 blue. And I'm going to go up under the same thread bridge that I just went under. I'm working increases here, so I'm going to go under that same thread bridge. And then up through the new bead I just added. We'll put my finger on it, pull, so that now that gives me 3 rows. The next row you start out with a blue and a white. Go under that very first thread bridge. Let me pull my bead tight here again. I got a little knot in it. There we go. Okay. Go up through the white. Pick up one blue. Go up through the very next thread bridge. And then up through the blue. This time it's a white. Go under the next thread bridge. And the last one for our row is a blue. And we're going to go up under that last thread bridge that we just went under. And then up through the blue. And you can see I hold my finger on that bead so that way it'll keep it nice and tight for me. So here are my rows so far. And if you haven't caught on to the pattern yet, you're going to have one blue row, one white and blue. One blue row, one white and blue. So what I want you to do is I want you to do the next blue row, the next white and blue row, and then a blue row. So 3 more rows. This whole row will be blue. The next one will alternate white and blue. And then the third one will be all blue. Once you have those 3 rows done, this is what your piece should look like. This last row that we just added is the widest row of our diamond that we're going to make. We've done increases from the bottom to the middle. Now we're going to do decreases from the middle to the top. And basically what we're going to do is the same exact thing, just mirror imaged. So the first one that we're going to do is you want to pick up a blue and a white. This row that we're going to do here is going to look exactly like this row. Alright, so here we go. Picking up, and instead of going under this first thread bridge, I'm going to go under this second thread bridge. This is to decrease, so go under the second thread bridge and go up through the white. Now when you decrease, you see how my blue bead's still sitting kind of wonky there? Well, that means is I'm going to come down through the blue and then up through the white to make that bead straight. When you decrease, you have to do that each time you start a row. My next bead is blue, and I'm going to go under the very next thread bridge. White, go under the very next bridge. Blue, under the next bridge. White, and then blue. And once you've added the blue, it finishes the row so that it looks identical to this row. Now I'm going to show you one more row on the decrease, and then I'm going to let you continue on until you end up with the 2 beads just like we have here at the bottom. So this row is all blue, so I'm going to pick up 2 blue. I'm going to skip the first thread bridge and go under the second. I'm going to go up through, if I can get it here. Here we go, up through the second bead that I just added. And see my little bead there, that first one is a little wonky, so I have to go down through the first, and then up through the second. So that those beads sit straight like they're supposed to. Now just continue on with the row, pick up a blue, go under the very next bridge, blue, under the next bridge, blue, and the last one for the row is blue. Alright, so you're going to continue on until you've decreased down to 2 beads, like so that this is a mirror, your top is a mirror image of the bottom. Once you have your second side complete, this is what your piece should look like. You have your tail on one end and you have your working thread on the other end. The tail is going to be the top of the earring. The working thread here is going to be the bottom. Now I've got a completed piece here that you can see. We're going to be adding our fringe to the bottom of the earring. Each bead here along the bottom and along the side corners until you get to the center, here and here, will have a fringe coming off of it. These 2 bottom beads here, we're going to be picking up 28 beads. The next is 26, 24, 22, 20, 18, and 16. So again, here along the bottom, 28. Your next bead will be 26, 24, 22, 20, 18, and 16. Now this was one of my very first samples that I did, and I alternated the color. We're going to start at the bottom and add our beads to one side, and then we'll come back and add the beads to the other side. I alternated white and red, white and red, white and red along the entire thing, and I really like this pair. It's just some people, it'll bother some people that it's red on one side and white on the other side. That doesn't bother me, but some people it would bother. So then I did this version, which is a version I'm going to show you now, where I did the same color in the center, and then I rotated white, red, so that each one has the same color exiting on the ends. So it's completely up to you whether you want 2 different colors on the end or a single color. Completely up to you. I mean, you can do it all one color if you want to do it. It's like I said, at this point you kind of have your own design freedom, but I'm going to show you how to get started with it. So I'm coming out of my last bead, and I'm going to make a matching set for this one. So this is the one I'm going to be doing. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up 28 beads. Alright, once you have your beads on there, I'm going to go straight up through the same bead that I was just coming out of and pull, so that when I pull, it leaves me a loop. I'm going to come down through the very next bead in that same row. I'm going to pick up the same color, but you can pick up a different color. But again, the bottom, you pick up 28 beads. Alright, got my beads. So I'm going to come straight up through the same bead that I'm coming out of here. So now I have 2 loops. But now I need to be coming down out of this next bead in the row. So to do that, I'm going to come up through the white. Just the white on the next row, and then down through my end blue there on that same row with the white. So I'm coming out of downward the next bead there on the end. This time I'm going to pick up 26. Alright, once I've got my 26, I'm going to come up through just the one bead there on the very end. Just that one bead. But now I need to be coming down out of the next bead here along the outer edge. So to do that, I'm going to come up through the blue right next to that bead on the row I want to exit. And then down through the blue along the edge. This is so that your thread doesn't show where you're stitching through your beads. So I did 28 for the first two, 26. Now this one will be 24, and then I'm going to show you one more time how to get in position and let you finish. Alright, now that I have my 24, I'm going to go up through this same bead that I'm coming out of, so that it'll make my loop. I need to be coming downward out of this bead here, so I'm going to come up through the white. And then down through the blue on the end, right next to it. So I did 28, 26, 24. Now I'll do 22. So you want to continue coming up. You're going to do 22, 20, 18, and 16. And then I'll show you how to get to the other side and work downward. I have one side completed, and I'm coming up out of the very last bead that I added my last loop to. So I need to get over to this bead here, and the easiest way to do that is to come straight up through these outer beads to get to the top, and then straight down through these outer beads. So a lot of times you can do that in like 1 or 2 little go-throughs. Like one got me straight through. So go up through that. Be careful not to get your thread caught around your last loop here. Now I'm leaving that little tail. I'm not messing with my tail here. And I'm going to come see if I can go straight down through. Yep. To exit out the corner bead here on the end. Alright, so I'm going to work downward. So I'm going to pick up 16. I ended with my red over here. So I'm going to do red on this side. So I got to pick up 16 red. Come up through the same bead, and if I hold it like this, you'll see up through the very same bead that I'm coming out of to make my circle. But now, get my little tail out of the way here. Now I need to be coming out of the next bead here in a downward fashion. So to do that, I'm going to come down through the blue right next to the one I'm coming out of, and then through the blue here on the end. So I'm going through 2 beads, but I'm going from one row to the next row. Pull this on through. My next loop is 18 and it's white. I'm going to pick up 18 white. Come back up through the same bead that I'm coming out of. So that gives me my next loop, but then I need to be coming out downward of this bead here. So again, I'm going to come down through the bead right next to where I'm coming out, and then sometimes you can squeeze it through and sometimes you can't. There we go. So I'm going through 2 beads. I'm going through the bead right next to where I'm coming out of, and then I'm going through the bead right below it. And I'm going to continue adding my loops till I'm back here to the bottom, and then I'm going to tie off this thread with some half hitch knots. So I have my fringe finished along the bottom here of the earring, and I've tied the thread off, and I have put my needle onto the tail thread. And I'm going to pick up 6 blues. And I'm going to come down through the bead right next to where my thread is coming out, so that when I pull, it'll make my little loop for the earring hook. Now I'm going to go back up through and reinforce this one more time. So go back up through the bead, and then through the 6 beads that you just added. Then you want to do the same thing. Whoop, not the same thing. You don't want to pull your needle off just like I did. But hey, that's what floats your boat. Why not? I always say I'm just getting more practice. Oh, and of course this needle's not wanting to thread. There we go. Oh, good grief. Okay. Sorry about that. Now, I'm going to go under the thread between the bead I'm coming out and the bead right below it. Going to leave myself a little loop. I'm going to go through that loop and pull. And then I'm going to stitch through a couple of beads. And I'm going to do the same thing one more time. And I'm going to trim this thread. And now I have my identical pair of earrings, which once you add the ear hook will look just like this. So I hope you guys liked learning how to make these brick stitch earrings. If you need the graph and the numbers for the counts for the earring, go to our website, offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com, and the pattern is available for free for a limited time on the website. Again, that's offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure and come back next week when I'm going to teach you how to make what I call the loop-de-loop earrings. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.